Shalom, Kahala Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Bahashim Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us his truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push the word and truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect, tabernacle of David. All right, so I'm quickly going to touch on the chariots because there's a push right now to further try to control the narrative. So I'm just going to punch a couple of holes in what it is they're trying to do. All right, so apparently they might try to push this little blue beam situation, but they're coming back out and finally admitting, oh, well, we have extraterrestrial, we have alien technology, right? Which, if you do have it, the Most High gave it to you. But here's what didn't happen. Ain't no chariots of the Most High crashed. That is it's just an indication that you doing what you do best, and that's to lie about every word that comes out of your mouth. So we're going to start right here with Daniel. We're going to start with the Most High and his chariot. Okay? So Daniel 7 and 9, Daniel's vision of the Ancient of Days. Who's the Ancient of Days? The Ancient of Days is a title, if you will, for the Most High, Yahweh. Okay? He's the Ancient of Days, no beginning or no end. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days, Yahweh, did sit. Okay? Very telling that he was sitting. Oh, he's a spirit. Well, he's a spirit that was sitting down. Whose garment, he's a spirit that was sitting down who was wearing a garment, was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. He's a spirit that was sitting down with a white garment on who had hair like a Negro. Okay? Or Negroes have hair like the Most High. How about that? His throne, what's his throne? Okay? Was like the fiery flame. This is describing his chariot. And his wheels as burning fire. Okay? This is describing the Most High's chariot. All right? Whether you hear or forbear. Okay? Now, this goes on, right, to talk about the Most High and his son, and then we'll jump down to 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven. So there we go, dealing with chariots again, the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, right? And they brought him near before him. These are those chariots. So they're all dealing with chariots, okay? Let's get Isaiah. Salakia. Isaiah 63 and 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. Right? Glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. That's his chariot. Whose chariot? I that speak in righteousness, mighty to Savior. The Savior. This is talking about Yahweh Shah, the Son of the Most High, traveling in his chariot. Okay? That great mountain. She'll be coming around the great mountain. Right? Salakia. 2 Ezra 13 and 6. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. And flew up. And flew up upon it. He flew up upon what? That great mountain. Okay. What great mountain? This great mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain. Wikipedia. Let's get it. Background. The original song was published in Old Plantation Hymns in 1899. It ostensibly refers to the second coming of Hamashiach, and leave that part out, with the she referring to the chariot that the returning anointed is depicted as driving. What mountain? With the she referring to the chariot. What mountain? She'll be coming around the mountain. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. That mountain. 2 Ezra 13 and 6. Okay? That mountain. Okay, so we're dealing with the chariots of God, the chariots of the Most High, the chariots of Israel. Second Kings 2 and 11. Start at 11. And it came to pass as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire, and a fire enfolding itself, and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven, into the sky. Whirlwind was the chariot. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in two pieces. The chariot of Israel. Okay? Now, we're going to go here to redacted, right? And this guy, this FBI agent, is going to make a very profound statement, okay? First, they're going to say, yeah, we recovered wreckage, alien wreckage, right? Well, aliens, the so-called aliens are the Most High, his son, and the angels, and their spacecraft, if you will, their chariots. They don't crash, okay? If they want to give you some technology, they'll do that. I'll tell you whose spaceships do crash, okay? And that's man, all right? The Germans been making spaceships going way back, all right? How? The Most High gave them the technology. Simple. So if you recovered alien spacecraft that crashed, those aliens are man, all right? Because the Most High's chariots don't crash, all right? And this guy is going to confirm that. He's going to say there's two kinds of chariots, all right? Which is the point. So that we know this push, right? We have in our possession, we have recovered, crashed alien technology. When you say crashed, it's not extraterrestrial. This guy, this FBI agent, who I believe was dispatched to cause conjecture, he's going to qualify that. So,
well, a Pentagon UFO whistleblower has come forward, David Grush is his name, to say that the United States is in possession of vehicles of non-human origin. That's a government speak way of saying alien vehicles. In other words, the United States has alien vehicles in our possession. What?
Now, Do they have alien vehicles? I don't think the Most High gave these devils a fully intact spiritual uh, chariot of the gods, if you will. He might have gave them technology to make their own that are of lesser quality, and these things crash. But he did not say, "Here, you take this chariot, and you're on the same level as the Most High or the angels." He didn't do that.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
When you say what? Crash retrieval. So it's already from the jump. See, when you understand how to parse these words, right? First words in the interview that they post is this: crash retrieval. Well, see, government has a UFO retrieval. What does that mean, retrieval? All right. Well, they're talking about wreckage. 5816. Let's go here.
It has alien vehicles in our possession. Watch.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
Crash retrieval. Now let's listen. So from this point on, it's all lies. Okay?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will. It's probably not the right parlance, but no kidding, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
Landed or crashed. So what you're saying, landed. One of the angels came down, landed his craft, and gave it to you? Gave it to you? Gave it to the devil? I don't think so.
A spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
Well, John DeSouza is a retired FBI special agent who served for 25 years on the counterterrorism and paranormal cases. He had a top secret clearance during that time, during his time at the FBI. In fact, DeSouza literally collected the real-life X-Files that were used in the show, The X-Files. He has a lot to say about this UFO whistleblower story. John is here. John, welcome back to the show. And you have the distinction, my friend, for our audience that recognizes John, you and I, the interview that we did is the most watched interview in the history of Redacted, of this channel. So thank you.
So the fact that this guy is coming from the FBI, first of all, he can't be trusted. Now, what he is going to do is he's going to differentiate, right, the difference between crashed, right? He's going to say the angels, and he's not going to use this terminology, but in so many words, he's going to say the angels' chariots don't crash. So whatever you have, right, is not the angels' technology. This technology far surpasses something that crashes. All right, and that's the point of this lesson. All right, so he's mixing truth with lies because he's dispatched. They would not let him say this unless they told him to come out and say this. Little FBI right there. Okay. Now, this other devil tried to say or landed. So the angels came, landed a spaceship, gave it to you, and left it in your possession. That's a lie. Right there with crashed in the same sentence. All right. Go ahead, D'Souza. What you got?
Very much. Over 2 million views right now on this video. Thank you, John.
Wow. Thank you, Clayton. That's owing to your skill and expertise as an interviewer and on this subject too, which you appear to have extraordinary knowledge on. So yeah, I'm very happy to be with you again. Thank you so much.
Well, it's my pleasure to have you back, and our audience was very excited to have you back on as well. So this story breaks over the past few days. Now, immediately in my heart, right, because I'm a kid at heart, we've known all of this. If you knee deep in this literature for many, many years, it seems obvious to us who follow this that the United States has had otherworldly vehicles for decades. This is not new news to people like you and me, people in the know, who've been tracking and following this. So we hear a UFO whistleblower from the Pentagon comes out and says this, and it sends shockwaves around the world like, oh my God, we're hearing from the Pentagon for the first time. My little spidey sense goes off, and I immediately think psychological operation. Like, why are we hearing about this now? When you heard about this testimony and you heard about this whistleblower, what were your first thoughts? Can you tell us the truth here? What is going on with this story?
All right, so back in whatever, 58, 48, 47, Roswell. Was it a UFO or was it a balloon? Now you're coming out and say, oh, well, we've had this going back. So you're already double-minded, right? This is a psyop. The whole thing. This guy's part of the psyop. He can give you a little more information just to, confuse, but you can't confuse the men of the Lord. It's not possible, all right? We're grounded in truth. Go ahead, John. What you got to say?
My first thoughts were what I really know personally, and it's about many whistleblower complaints from FBI people going back many, many years.
Including yourself, right? What you know personally. And there's something called compartmentalization, and we'll get the definition for that, Lord willing. But he's compartmentalized. He might know different things than the next FBI whistleblower because that's what he is, all right? And he's talking about them and trying to leave himself out of the loop.
I've had involvement with these people going back all the way to counterterrorism whistleblower named Sybil Edmonds, another one named Robin Gritz, and including the modern whistleblowers that we have today, FBI agents Garrett O'Boyle, Marcus Allen, Steve Friend, all of whom were stripped of security clearance and fired from the FBI. So what my first thoughts were extreme confusion from seeing David Grush's interviews and the things that he's going through, because it just didn't fit the mold of most whistleblowers. For instance, I just don't see. First of all, I'd like to thank David Grush for his service to this country, which is very important and very honorable thing. However, what's going on with this complaint is just bewildering, because first of all, what is the basis for his whistleblowing? For instance, all of the FBI whistleblowers, the basis for their complaints is the weaponization of the FBI against civilians,
Right.
which is highly illegal, improper, unethical. I mean, that is the basis for a whistleblower complaint. And all of these people have suffered enormous punishment.
Neurologists.
Salakia, there's a point where I'm going to point out what the crux of this lesson is about. So
Punishment and retaliation. And they've been fired, they've been persecuted, they've suffered extraordinary things. I'm not even clear from David Grush's interviews what was the is he even working anymore for the government? I can't tell because he doesn't really address this. And that goes to another point. Real whistleblowers have something called righteous rage. They have righteous rage because they've been persecuted, they've been wronged tremendously, and I don't see that with David.
So you don't
Grush
buy
at
it.
all.
You don't buy it in his video responses.
Yeah.
He's. Is it something about his interview that was standing out to you? And because he filed this complaint saying there's government suppression here, there's government suppression of these vehicles, and he's coming forward to be the person that's going to tell us all about this.
Right, but that's not an illegality. That's not an actual legitimate basis for a whistleblower complaint. The government is always allowed to not share information with the public. That's otherwise the entire national security structure couldn't function. That's one thing. that I see as extremely problematic. Also, why can't I find the unclassified version of his whistleblower complaint? I looked for it everywhere. It's not out there, and it should. If this was a matter of public interest, like the whistleblower says, that should be released.
Okay, now let me say something real quick. Why isn't there a Hebrew Israelite sitting right here telling you what these craft actually are? Why is this guy who used to work for the FBI, he's not going to mention Israel? Okay, what are these craft? What is their name? We went over that already. We pointed out that the Most High, out of the Bible, the Most High travels in a chariot. Yahushua, his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, travels in a chariot. They wrote songs about him. She'll be coming around the mountain. How come none of that is being displayed, Mr. FBI, who done all this research? So are you part of the same disinformation campaign that the other guy who came out? Where's the Hebrew Israelite? How come Clayton here isn't bringing out the real truth, and we got this fugazi bullshit, right? Conjecture, confusion. You talking about confusion. Where's the Israelite? They know that we're here. They know we got the truth. Okay? All of this is bullshit, including Clayton. Sorry, Clayton. All right? You bring out some good information, but we got to use this bullshit to get to the truth. Okay? And that's what this is. Go ahead.
That should be released. It should be available for everyone to have.
And there should be, you should interview the elder apostle Tahar so he could use the Bible to show you what these things really are and what is about to happen. That's not going to go on redacted, is it?
But the other point is that I would invite people to go to News Nation now to see the full interview, which is astounding. It is astounding. I have never seen such a gushing softball interview from the supposed journalist who's at that site doing that with David Grush. It actually just seems much more like the beginning of a publicity tour. That's what it really looks like.
And you're on that tour. You're following David Grush and giving the antithesis to what he said. But not one time is it being mentioned that the craft, the name of the craft, are, out of the Bible, the chariots of Israel. 2 Kings 2 and 11. Are you using the Bible to show that this goes all the way back to ancient times and it's dealing with God and the angels? No, you're not.
So publicity tour, would another way to say this, psychological operation, or is not? No, this is not a psychological. Would you think this is a psychological operation? You're shaking your head.
Well, it's part of a. I believe it looks like it's part of a much larger psychological operation.
And you're part of that much larger psychological operation because you're not coming right out and saying what this thing really is, right? You're adding to the confusion. Okay, you're compounding the confusion. And Clayton knows that we use his videos, just like this Gonzalo Lira, right? Who, when he mentioned us, all you got to do is mention us. Oh, the Hebrew Israelites are being shut down. That dude disappeared, right? Gonzalo Lira mentioned the Hebrew Israelites in the same breath as what's the guy's name that just Tucker Carlson. And what happened? Gonzalo's ass got disappeared. All right? That's what happens when the truth comes. A nigga will get disappeared when the real truth comes out.
So what happens in these things is that they get a lot of people to work for the psychological operation unknowingly. They actually believe what they're doing is right, is correct, and that it needs to be done. They have many people who are working for this psychological operation, including congressmen and senators, U.S. senators who are trying to get in on this because it's just extraordinary. So one thing I would ask for the people who are pushing David Grush forward is that they need to have him answer some real questions from a real journalist like maybe Whitney Webb to actually come forward in order to give this any legitimacy. Because I see all the comments everywhere I go. They just don't believe this. People, the regular people.
So
You can now speak.
You see where this is going? Whitney Webb, my ass. How about put a Hebrew Israelite? Everybody knows what we're saying, including Clayton, including this so-called FBI agent. Where are we at?
so
Like your audience.
yeah, I mean, we have a lot of people in our audience who's
We're in the audience, and you know it. Okay? You will be Gonzalo Lirad if you brought us into the conversation. They would Gonzalo your ass. All right?
this looks like a psychological operation. When we covered it last night, I said this was one of the first alarm bells for me. Psychological operation. The idea that let me just unpack this a little bit. Do you believe? Well, what he's saying at the basis is true, that the United States has all otherworldly vehicles in its possession that we are reverse engineering.
Now he's going to tell you the difference between what crashes and what doesn't crash. He is going to give you that much information. Okay? And this is what they do. They mix some truth with a grip of lies. All right? They cannot put the real truth out there like Gonzalo did. Gonzalo pointed straight to us, linked us with Tucker Carlson, and that nigga's gone.
That part is true, correct?
Well, truthfully, yes. I actually do believe that that's true. I do believe, but I have a hard time believing that he's a part of it. That's the part I'm having a hard time with.
I see.
Because
I see. Right.
he's not telling us anything. I mean, even in that segment that you showed, this gushing supposed journalist is just asking him, yeah, so you're saying that we have pieces of these vehicles and we have actual vehicles themselves. How many? And he's just like, a bunch, a bunch. It's like,
What?
if you're
What
a real
tough questions,
whistleblower-
John? I would love to hear you, with all of your knowledge in this subject, what would you specifically ask him? If you were sitting down and we gave you a camera with David Grush, maybe give me 5 questions specifically that you would ask him.
Okay, then I'll have to pare it down. But yeah,
Because you have
first
10,
of all,
you have 20, yeah. give me your 5 best.
My 5 best, I would say, first of all, what you said, non-human origin technical vehicles. I would say, what is a technical vehicle? I don't know that. Maybe somebody here is an engineer or something, and they know what a technical vehicle is, because I have no idea what that means. That would be my first one. The second, non-human origin. So, are you saying that the stuff could have been made by monkeys, by apes, by intelligent apes? I mean, if you mean alien visitors, why wouldn't you say that? Why wouldn't you just say that? Second of all, you said these are spacecraft. These are spacecraft. You use that word. How do you know these vehicles are from space? We're finding out now that a lot of UFOs, genuine UFOs, are actually from inner Earth. They're from beneath the oceans. They're even from volcanoes. So is there some other basis of knowledge that you have that tells you these things are from space? That's one of the questions I would have. Also,
and have you been on one of these craft to know that? Dr. Michael Sala is reporting on this. Have you been on one of them? Have you traveled to the moon base, the secret space program, space?
Well, that's another. That leads to another point. If you see the full interview, fuller interview on newsnationnow.com, if you see this, they actually in the full interview they actually seem
I see you pointing and guiding and suggesting that people go and watch the fuller. This is an advertisement for the full interview, is it not?
To admit that it looks that way, that he has actually never personally seen these pieces or these vehicles himself, only in pictures, it appears. Only in pictures. I mean, that's devastating. And the journalist who was interviewing him appears to bury that at the bottom of the interview because the journalist is actually feeding him questions. And then here's the other point about that as well, is that it really raised my suspicions when this individual who's being fed these, it's almost like he's being reminded of these answers by the journalist who is interviewing him in this puff piece over at News Nation Now. And one of the things that really stuck out to me is that in this entire psyop, there's a CIA phrase that they all use. And it's a CIA phrase because it's a psychological operation phrase that implies alien visitors, but doesn't directly say it. But it triggers all the neurons in our minds that associate with alien vehicles. And it's this: they are, and this whistleblower did it too. He was fed the line to say that says, quote, "Yes, this means that we are definitely not alone in the universe." And
Come on, G. Trying to get to the part, so Salaki for going long.
and they look up meaningfully at space, supposedly, when they say it. And they've all done this. And it's unbelievable because it's the exact same.
You did it. You reinforced it as you're explaining it.
So what is at the heart of this psychological operation? For me, let me just give you my cynical view, which is, yes, of course we have otherworldly vehicles. We've been reverse engineering them for decades. We have this. We know this. It's absolutely 100% the case, right? We know this. Now, they're trying to create a boogeyman because we need another enemy. The deep state wants more money spent on the Space Force and an expansion of our military into space. And that's the psychological operation, that we need to create this enemy, this sort of benevolent, these benevolent beings that have been here sharing technology with us, as Dr. Mike Asala reports, and even his brand new book on this exact subject. We've been collaborating with them for decades.
Okay, I'm going to cut this short. I'm going to try to get to the part where he explains that the Most High's chariots don't crash. So let me see if
Smell test, or that's weird to me.
Well, it begs the question then, what is it that he revealed to be the basis of his whistleblower complaint and retaliation? It's like, if he's getting the approval and the encouragement of DOD to reveal the stuff that he's revealing, then what was the basis? What originally happened? I mean, the real whistleblowers, they always reveal something without permission from the government. And then the persecution that they suffer is unbelievable. I would encourage people to go look at the whistleblower complaint of this FBI agent, Garrett O'Boyle, who was so persecuted by the FBI, who was transferred from one jurisdiction to another with his 3 kids in tow and a new baby. And then in the middle of their move between jurisdictions, the FBI advised him that his security clearance was revoked, he had been fired, and he was not even going to get his goods back from the moving company the FBI had hired. And so he was literally homeless. Him and his family were homeless, without anywhere to go and without the ability to get their goods back.
Okay,
because that was real retaliation against a real whistleblower. You have to look at these things to figure it out.
And you are invited on all these shows and nothing's happened to you? Where's the retaliation?
Great points. All excellent points. John, always great to see you. Don't be a stranger. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. How can people, you've got books, how can people connect with you online?
People will just go to something, johntama.books.com, and they would go there to find my book, The Extra Dimensionals, where I actually explain what real UFOs are, where they come from, and why it is that the government can't shoot down UFOs, that they're not 57 Chevys with pieces coming off, that are just crashing all over the place and just being dead by the side of the road. That's not what this is. This technology is so far ahead of our own. It is not a 57 Chevy. People have to realize that, and that's why I wrote my book, The Extra Dimensionals, so people can actually see what real alien vehicles really are like.
That. Okay, 57 Chevys. All right, that speech right there, that's what I wanted to go to. I spent the whole video. Just that snippet. Okay, he went into what real alien vehicles, but you never said anything about the Most High God, Yahweh, or his son, or the angels. So how real could your book be? Okay? If you're going to bring it out, you got to bring it out. Okay, now he did make the distinction that real so-called alien vehicles, they don't crash. Okay, you can't shoot them out of the sky. Let's hear that again. That's what I waited for. Okay, listen again and then we'll go ahead and close. Salakia. Damn it. So, yeah, just, you know. So he's a shill as well, which is what's being said. All right. Otherwise, you go straight to the Bible to point out what these things actually are. So
to find my book, The Extra Dimensionals, where I actually explain what real UFOs are, where they come from, and why it is that the government can't shoot down UFOs, that they're not 57 Chevys with pieces coming off, that are just crashing all over the place and just being dead by the side of the road. That's not what this is. This technology is so far ahead of our own. It is not a 57 Chevy. People have to realize that, and that's why I wrote my book, The Extra Dimensionals, so people can actually see what real alien vehicles really are like.
be not deceived. Let's get that. Okay? Because this is a clown show. You out here lying. Galatians 6 and 7. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that also shall he reap. All right? What are these things for? Okay? Most High is not mocked. Zephaniah, Zechariah 5, Salakia. What are they? What are they for, Mr. D'Souza? Zechariah 5 and 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes, and I looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I said, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. Okay, so if this isn't in your book, Mr. D'Souza, your book is full of shit. What are these things for? That should be in the book. Got to open the Bible to show what these things are and what their function and why they're here. Okay? Let's go back. Guess what? Don't be not deceived. Okay? Let's go back. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Revelation 13, 9, and 10. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. Okay? What did you do to the children of Israel? Okay? Well, the angels are coming back to do what? Okay? To set the record straight. The angels are in those crafts. All right. Is that in your book, Mr. D'Souza? I don't think so. So with that, Salakia for going long. We hope that the elect will edify you, brothers and few sisters. With that, shalom.